This morning, Donald Trump is defending his decision to send in troops to Los Angeles, saying that if he failed to do so, quote, the once beautiful and great city would be burning to the ground right now. Folks, there has been evidence of isolated violent incidences in these protests in Los Angeles, but the majority of the protests on the ground have largely been peaceful, with local and state officials rejecting any notion that they need support from the federal government in the form of military assistance, with U.S. Marines possibly being put on the ground. And according to CNN reporting, the damage from these protests has not even been limited to just a sliver of Los Angeles, but it's really just a sliver of downtown Los Angeles, as much of the rest of the city is functioning as per normal. This is what the administration wants. It's manufacturing a crisis where there really isn't one. Yes, there are some violent incidences during these protests. No, that's not okay. And no, no one is defending that. But at the same time, the majority of the protests and the protesters have been peaceful. And overnight, despite that, Donald Trump sent in another 2,000 National Guardsmen, along with 700 Marines that have been mobilized to Los Angeles. Now, the LAPD says that federal government officials have not notified the LAPD of the mobilization of the Marines. And if they are truly mobilized and placed on the ground, then it would cause difficulties for LAPD response to the protest. Now, before I continue, sorry for getting this to you a little later than expected this morning. TikTok actually banned my backup account, my personal account. So I've been dealing with that this morning. So if you want to support my work on here, please subscribe to my Substack by clicking the button below or sending a one-time donation to support via Venmo to Aaron-Parnas. Now, California Governor Gavin Newsom is pushing back on Trump's decision to send in the Marines, saying that the Marines are not, quote, political pawns, causing the Trump administration's deployment a, quote, blatant abuse of power. Today, Donald Trump will address troops at Fort Bragg amid the decision to send Marines to Los Angeles. We will see what he says later this afternoon, while Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, will face significant grilling on Capitol Hill very soon as today, from lawmakers for the first time since authorizing the mobilization of the Marines. Now, in serious news, overnight, a CNN reporter was briefly detained in downtown Los Angeles for covering the protests live and on the ground. The video of him can be seen with him saying, "I am being detained." Authorities then quickly released him and said that if he came back to that area, he would be arrested. That is significant, and that does not happen in a civil society. The founders of Latinas for Trump, Republican State Senator Ileana Garcia from Florida, is now slamming the Trump administration for targeting children in foster care to meet the administration's deportation quotas, saying, quote, Stephen Miller has made it a point to include undocumented minors in foster care, many of whom are victims of human trafficking, in his efforts to fulfill a desperate weekly quota of deportations. These individuals are being picked up at the homes of foster parents. This is unacceptable, regardless of their citizenship status. Republican Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri has introduced legislation that will raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour on the federal level, although that's expected to have significant pushback. According to the Wall Street Journal, U.S. government agencies tracked foreign nationals coming to Elon Musk's properties out of concerns that individuals may have influence over Musk. The investigation did not proceed to criminal charges, but many across the federal government, including at the FBI, were aware of this investigation. It's Election Day in New Jersey. New Jersey voters will go and pick their nominees for Democrat and Republican races across the state today. We'll see who wins this evening. At least 9 people were murdered at a school shooting in Austria overnight, and Attorney General Pam Bondi's brother lost his race to become the next leader of the D.C. bar, losing by over 70% of the vote. Folks, that's all the news right now. It's going to be a very busy news day, so I'll provide you updates throughout the day. Bear with me if you want to support my work. Subscribe today to my Substack by clicking the button below, and I'll see you this afternoon.